So Dominic, in the past, I've had a relationship where I felt insecure and I felt not at my feminine, like you would say. And I would test him a lot, out of fear. And there was a situation where I broke up with him, and what I wanted was to be chased, like, no, we're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. I love you. I want you. But it was more like, well, you chose to break up with me, so that's on you. I can't do anything about that.
So what you're saying is that you withdrew hoping that you were going to be chased.
Yeah.
But instead, the man said, if you want space, well, then I'll let you have your space.
Yeah.
So you were communicating in your own way. Your motivation was, I want to see how bad he wants me. I want him to chase after me. I want to know that I'm the most important thing in his life.
Yeah.
And that he'll stop anything, drop anything, change his schedule, cancel whatever he's got to do, and come after me and prove to me that I am the most important thing in his life.
Right.
And instead, what did he do?
He kind of was like, okay, well, obviously he was heartbroken, but it was more like, well, it is what it is.
What did he do? Did he come after you or not?
No.
He gave you your space, is that correct?
Right.
So pay attention. There's what a woman says, and then there's what they want. They have nothing to do with each other. Remember, women think differently. They take in information differently. They communicate it differently. Men, we take things at face value. So if you're communicating with your woman like she's another man, it's not going to pan out well. So yeah, I agree with you. That must be frustrating, because never take what a woman says for face value, but instead you have to look past and say, what is she communicating? Because typically when a woman does that, what she's saying is her needs aren't met.
Right.
I know I'm married now, and we have a 6-week-old baby. And just yesterday, was it last night? Last night, Ashley says to me, and she does this whenever her needs aren't being met, and she needs more time, or she needs to know that she's the most important thing. She'll say, how do you feel about our relationship? And now I laugh whenever, because I know what that means is, hey, potato head, you're not giving her enough time, you're not giving her enough attention, her needs aren't being met. Yeah. So at that point, instead of saying, hey, what do you mean, what do you think about our relationship? I make food, I work all day, I come home, how could you say that to me? Like, what a horrible thing to say, and make it about me. Yeah. I now understand that what she's communicating is, my needs aren't met, and I don't feel you. And let me tell you, for a woman, they need to feel their man. The reason why is because the more they feel their man, the safer they feel. If she doesn't know where she's at, she's not safe, let me tell you. And then she's going to go internal, she's going to shut down, she's not going to express, and then they're going to say things like, I think maybe we should take some time apart. Because what she's really communicated is...
It was like, chase me, like,
chase me.
Show me I'm what you want,
That's what she's communicating. So remember, don't ever listen to what a woman is saying. That's not what she's communicating. What she's communicating is, I want to know I'm the most important thing. Yeah. So when Ashley says that, which she did last night, which means when I leave here, I'm going to go get some flowers for her. I'm going to go there. I'm going to spend time with her. I'm going to connect with her. I'm going to tell her how she's the most important thing in my life.
But, so in my case, the guy would consider it playing games. Like, just be, instead of playing the whole breakup role.
Yeah, and how's the relationship going right now?
It's over.
Women are playing games. They're testing you. It's called the testing their man game. That's exactly what they're doing. Why? Because that's what they're biologically wired to do. You're, as a man, not supposed to be playing games. You're supposed to say, oh, she's doing this because I'm not showing up. If a woman withdraws, if a woman says, how do you feel about our relationship? If a woman says, I think we need to take some time apart, she's not asking for time apart. She's asking for you to show up because her needs aren't being met. She doesn't feel you and she doesn't feel safe. Remember, a woman needs to feel safe, and it's scary as anything if they don't feel you. She wants to feel you. She wants to feel your presence. She wants you to claim her.
Yes, 100%. I could sit here and say that we don't mean what we say at all.
And the reason why I know that is not because I'm this old wise one. It's because I've screwed up so many times that even someone who's dead below the ears eventually will figure it out. I've figured it out. And even then, I had to have coaches and great people around me to help me, like Corey. So there you go. You got the, you can avoid the pain that some of us went through and download that wisdom. And you think you're going to get that after hearing it. You're like, oh, that makes sense. No, it's not. You're a man. You're not wired to get it. So rehearse this video and this information over and over and over again. And refer back to it when you hear, I think I want to take some time off.
Take the initiative. That's all you have to do.
Yes.
Well, in the video the other day with Dominick and Caroline in Dominick's office, I heard Dominick talk about chasing. And so I can imagine, obviously, people in the comments that are familiar with my work are going to have something to say about that. And so there's two different instances. One of the things that women do to test a guy, to test his interest, to see if he really means what he says, if he's interested, is they'll suggest taking time apart or a break or a breakup, not because they actually want to break up, but because they're trying to find out, does he really care? And so this is a different type of scenario. It's because a lot of guys are coming to me, the girl friend zoned them or is backed away, or they were hot and heavy for a few weeks or a few dates, and now she can't make time to see him. And so in that case, the guy has typically pursued too much. In other words, he's been chasing her like literally right out of his life. And so what we're talking about in the context of this, and what Dominick and Caroline were talking about, and that's why I've got Caroline, I've got Walker, Jennifer's oldest daughter, and then Jennifer here. We thought it'd be a great discussion to have three ladies here and talk about this. So we got two different scenarios. You have ones where you're in a relationship, the relationship's pretty good, but the woman's feeling doubts. She doesn't feel, as Dominick was saying, doesn't feel safe. And so this is not one where they were just kind of casually dating and she's backing away, because in that scenario, when a woman says, I need space, she really wants space. She wants to be left alone. And the worst thing you can do when a woman pushes you away, wants space, when you just kind of started dating, this is not like when you're in a relationship, this is just kind of casually dating, is you got to give her that space. Because what's happening is the guy's smothering her. He's coming on too strong. And like the Thich Nhat Hanh quote that you've obviously heard I use a lot in videos is you must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. And so she's not feeling free, she's feeling smothered, and she's just trying to get to know the guy, and yet he's already treating her like a wife or a girlfriend. Maybe she gets a little bit of a controlling vibe. He tries too hard, calls too much, tries to corral her to do things that she's not ready to do. And so what we were talking about with Caroline's situation is different. She had been in a long-term relationship with this particular guy, and she wasn't feeling safe. She wasn't feeling loved or supported. And she was suggesting that they should take some time apart, not because she wants to take time apart, but because she wants to see if he really cares. And so the correct response in that particular situation for a guy is, I'm not interested in taking space. I'm not interested in any time apart. I'm not interested in taking a break. I don't want to spend time apart. I don't want to wake up tomorrow and you not be in my arms. And so you have to reiterate that you care. And so in her situation, if you could maybe go back and explain like what happened in your situation, why you were saying what you said to him, and then obviously his response, which was obviously not what you were expecting or wanting to hear.
I was seeking attention. I was seeking comfort and reassurance from him that I'm what he wants and that he didn't want to lose me. So by me playing a childish game, saying, oh, I think we should break up. I didn't want to break up, I just wanted him to chase me. But he took it as like, oh, well, I don't play those games that if it's over, it's over. And I was like, no, what do you mean?
You're doing it wrong.
That's not what you were supposed to do. But it is what it is. And he didn't understand the assignment.
Yeah, obviously.
He failed the assignment.
Yeah. He didn't get it.
So instead of reassuring you that you wanted to stay together, he's like, okay, yeah, let's take time apart.
Yeah.
And so that communicated that he didn't care, that you weren't that important to him.
Or he's testing her. The way she's testing him, he could be testing her to see if she'll come back.
But from what we know, the
From what we know,
context
it's
of
not
this,
like that. Yeah.
he
Okay.
wasn't making the effort.
Don't give him
Okay.
too much
And she could
credit.
feel that he wasn't making the effort. So therefore, you didn't feel safe in the relationship. You didn't feel protected. You didn't feel like he really loved you, valued you, or cared about you, right?
Right. He gave me the answer I was looking for.
And you gave him an easy way out.
Yeah, basically. Maybe he was looking for a getaway. And that was it.
So women will also, at times, if the relationship's over, because a good friend of mine, he and his girlfriend were they've been together for several years, and she gave him an out basically in the relationship to make it easy, because she could tell he's not really 100% in it. And he said, no, I want to stay together. I don't want to take time apart. I don't want to break up. And so he reassured her, but the reality is he wasn't really congruent with those words. He did it because he doesn't want to go through a breakup. He doesn't want to be single again because they've been together for so many years. But in that case, she made it easy gave him an easy out, and yet he stuck around.
Well, a lot of guys are scared. They hate change, you know. A lot of people, I won't even say guys, but people hate change. You know, they get stuck in their ways. You talk about it all the time in your videos about marriages where everybody's just kind of going along to get along. But Caroline gave him an opportunity, and your friend's girlfriend gave him an opportunity. And one did it one way, and the other did it another way. And it sounds like both guys wanted out, but one was a wimp about it, and one was like, okay, I'm going to try this. But I'm guaranteeing that guy's still texting Caroline and talking to her and keeping the ties. You know?
Who knows?
We
No, but
won't go into all those details.
yeah, we don't go into those
My point
details.
is, you know, when they do that, if they're still in contact with you, I feel like they're going to still have access to you. And if you do break up with somebody and you don't give them access to you, then you have more value because they don't have access to you. And then that's the real test. If you can make a break and not let him talk to you, and he doesn't know where you are or what you're doing, then he doesn't get you anymore. And as long as he's got access to you, I feel like he's comfortable. He probably feels like he knows you well enough that if he's ready to come back, that you'll be leaping into his arms, you know?
Rejection breeds obsession.
Yeah, I was at that point at one point, but no, we're friends. We're okay.
He's in friend zone now?
Yeah.
Is he cool with being in friend zone, or does he talk about maybe seeing you romantically again in the future?
We're not going to go into detail.
TMI.
TMI. Yeah.
But the bottom line is it's not completely over yet. The lines of communication are still open.
Still friends. Still good terms. But we're over.
Unless
nothing. I'm loving myself right now. That's all there is. I'm learning to love me and be okay on my own.
So from your own past, have you had situations like that where you felt like the guy didn't
100%.
care?
Yeah.
And so you said, well, let's just date other people to see what would happen?
No, not like that. But I've definitely been in that situation before and expressed that. But I think I made it more obvious that I wanted them to chase me instead of break up. Like I've told my boyfriend now, I've said, I feel I've done a similar thing. Like maybe we should take a break. Maybe we shouldn't be together. But then I've said, because I feel like you don't like me, or I feel like you're not all in or 100%. And then I kind of like, he has to show me that. I think it's like I give him a hint.
What does he say? What's his response when you throw those things out there?
He's not good with confrontation and like serious
I think
conversations.
it probably confuses
Well, what does
them.
he say, though, when you've said that to him?
He's reassuring. He's like, I love you. I want to be with you. I'm not talking to anyone else. All these things. But like, I think he kind of gets the hint. Also, in those kind of situations, I feel like you can tell when a woman is asking for more or asking for less, like realistically, even if she
Most
doesn't
guys
say
can't.
it specifically, like she's going to drop hints, and that's what you have to look for. Like, she's not going to, if a girl really doesn't like you and doesn't want to be with you, you're going to know that she doesn't care at all.
I agree.
Like-
It's like if you're asking the question, is she asking me, like, does she really want to be over, or is she asking for the chase?
For more attention.
More attention, you'll know. I feel like you will know.
Yeah, if she's not reciprocating, if the actions don't match the words, because oftentimes you guys, you want to let a guy down easy, you don't want to destroy his ego, and you'll give him something that sounds logical. Oh, well, let's be friends first, or we could be friends for a while, and then I'm not in a place right now where I'm ready to be in a relationship, and why don't we just be friends, and maybe we'll revisit in the future. And But the reality is, if you look at her actions, she's heading for the exits. And so in that case, you let her go, because she's not making the effort. I had a situation like this with an old girlfriend of mine, and I remember it was like a Monday, I think it was. And, she was calling me 2-3 times a day, and we'd been together, I don't know, 2-3 years at that point. And I remember I was in a shit mood, and I was kind of short with her on the phone. And you know how I get.
I know that mood.
And then, I'm used to getting 2 or 3 texts a day, and then all of a sudden, next day, nothing. The day after that, nothing. The day after
Got
that,
ghosted.
nothing. And I'm thinking, this is how this particular girlfriend would let me know that she was upset. And it wasn't just me. She did it to everybody in her family. And so I was like, okay, she's pissed off. And so I think it was maybe Thursday, or Friday. And I remember calling her, and I was like, hey. It's like, how you been? She's like, and she sounded a little surprised that I had actually reached out. She's like, oh, I'm surprised you called. And so we started talking, and then she says, well, I think maybe we should take some time apart, or you should take some time to think about how you feel about everything. And at the time, I was like, well, I don't really want to take any space or anything. And so that was one of, we ended up breaking up after that. And that was kind of like the beginning of the event, because at that time, I was much younger. It was like 20 years ago. I didn't know what that meant at the time. That she was just really, because we'd been looking at houses. She wanted to get engaged. And then like a few weeks later, she's talking about taking time apart. And I was thinking, man, is her interest dropped? Is she not that into me anymore? What the hell? And so I didn't pass that test myself at that time. And obviously, all these years later, I understand what it is. It wasn't the type of thing where I turned her off by pursuing. I basically was kind of a cold dick to her on the phone, and she felt like I didn't care about her and I wasn't that interested. That's why she was suggesting me to take some time to figure out what I wanted or how I felt, because she basically didn't feel that I was all in the relationship anymore.
How would you do it now?
I would have just said, I'm not interested in taking time. It's like, get your fucking ass ready. I'm going to be over there in 20 minutes and pick your cute little ass up, and we're going to go out and have some fun. And she might have protested, oh, well. I would have just, because she just wanted to know that I cared. Mm-hmm. Because I made her feel like I didn't give a shit. And then when I was like, okay, well, let me know. Give me a call in a few days. Whatever, and a week went by. 2 weeks went by after that. And then we went to her cousin's wedding after that. And there was a little bit of drama that night that I'm not going to get into because of it. But
because she had been stewing for 2 weeks.
Yeah, she was mad, and she's thinking, we're going to break up. He doesn't care about me. Mm-hmm. So she'd start calling some of the male orbiters.
So that could have gone 2 totally different directions in the way that you handled it,
yeah.
and the way her boyfriend handled it.
Yep.
And I
wanted to stay in the relationship, and she wanted to stay in the relationship, but because I misinterpreted it and I didn't understand it, it's like that was like a sequence of events that just the dominoes started falling, and that was the end of that particular relationship.
Men and women just speak 2 totally different languages. I mean, really and truly. I never read that book. What is it? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Yeah. But isn't that the gist of that book, that we kind of operate differently?
But the important thing is that if you guys are happy and you're in love and you both want to stay together and she's making the effort, I mean, if she's calling you 2 or 3 times a day and then you're a dick to her one day on the phone like I was, and then you don't hear from her, obviously that's her way of letting you know that she's not happy with you.
Yeah.
Well, I think the reason that women do that is because it's hard to ask somebody for more attention. Like, you're not going to I mean, that's what you want, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be like, love me, give me all your attention, show me how much you care, because nobody wants to do that. They just want to receive it.
Well, that's what Corey always talks about, is how women don't want to have to teach a man, how to behave and how to treat them. Yeah.
But what you said to your boyfriend was excellent, because it's like you gave him some information that let him know that this is how I'm feeling, versus just throwing out there, well, let's take some time apart, let's take a break.
Yeah,
like
That's what a lot of women
clueless.
do, like what you did.
like what I was telling them, it's like a level of maturing. Like you said, that was like 20 years ago, and you didn't know any better. So it's like a level of like learning, growing as a person. And like I wish I would have handled things the way you handled things, but now I know for like future references.
Yeah, you live and you learn.
Yeah, and it
like-
kind of takes balls to be able to say that to someone, though, too. I mean, we have been dating for a while, but, like, I hate to ask that. I hate to look vulnerable in front of a guy. And so when it comes down to it, I feel like
Yeah, that is scary.
you just have to put it out there. Because sometimes you have to break it down for them. They're not mind readers, obviously.
No.
So,
We need specific instructions. Step 1, step 2, step 3.
Very logical.
You gotta be very explicit in your
Yeah.
instructions. You can't beat around the bush and go, well, I think maybe you should take some time apart and see how you feel.
yeah.
And I was like, what? So the way you phrase it, it's like you kind of, because women help you when they like you, and it's like you weren't trying to break up with them, and it sounds like you recognize that he could interpret that one of two ways, and it's not that you wanted to take a break, but you were giving him an out in case he did want to take a break, but you also communicated what your needs were, is that you're not making me feel loved and desired and wanted like I should be feeling. In other words, you weren't feeling safe in his love and his masculinity. He was all in. It seemed like he was kind of vacillating.
Yeah, because he could have agreed and been like, yeah, I'm not feeling it as much. That would have been a perfect opportunity, but he was caught off guard. He was clueless that I felt that way. So I'm glad I did say something, because he would have just gone about his normal life, just doing what he usually does, and I would have still been unhappy. So, yeah.
Nice, good job.
Women like reassurance.
Yes.
It's important.
They want your attention all the time. When they're in love, they want it all the fucking time.
It's true.
Yeah, I could say that.